I ain't gonna lie to you.
So you walked up to the cop and asked him to arrest you
Yeah,
for,
I was under the influence and I was paranoid. I was. That's the God honest truth.
This parole revocation hearing starts with a man who completely fell off supervision. Mr. Davis tells the board his addiction relapse got so bad that paranoia took over and he actually asked a police officer to arrest him. That sounds like a case headed straight back to prison, but then his uncle steps forward with a plan. Watch how much difference a real support system can make. My name is Dan. This is the Courtroom Files.
Mr. Davis.
Hello?
Hi, you're with the East
Hi.
Baton Rouge Parish Jail.
Yes, ma'am.
Is Mr. Davis with you?
He is.
Okay.
How y'all doing?
Hi, Mr. Davis. Did you hear me introduce the panel?
I
Can you
did not, ma'am.
You see our names, Mr.
Yes,
Tillis,
ma'am.
Ron, Ms. LeFou. Would
Hi.
you please introduce yourself with your name and your DOC number?
My name is Romy D. Davis. My DOC number is 573326.
Okay, Mr. Davis, do you have a parole revocation questionnaire in front of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that indicates that you are eligible for appointed counsel, and I believe your attorney is with you today, Mr. Mitchell Connor. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Connor, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Protocol being established. Attorney Mitchell Connor this morning on behalf of Mr. Romy Davis.
Great, thank you. You please feel free to interject throughout this hearing. You are providing counsel, and you may interject as needed. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
We also have a David Sunday, an uncle who would like to speak. But first of all, we're going to go ahead and ask Mr. Barra to read out the allegations, and you'll need to enter a plea of guilty with the statement or not.
all right. It's alleged that you have violated the conditions of your parole in the following manner. Number two, that you failed to report to the parole in office from September 24th to February of 2026. How do you plead to that violation?
Guilty.
Mr. Davis, I advise you to plead not guilty.
Not guilty. I'm sorry. Not guilty. Not guilty.
All right. Do you want to give us a statement about that violation?
Um, if you want the God honest truth, I had gotten arrested and I had done some time that I thought was gonna wipe out my parole. I was told by my probation officer in Avoyes Parish that the time that I had served would have wiped my parole out. So I had went to treatment at the Hope Center in Marksville. So I really, in the God's honest truth, I thought this parole was taken care of through some time that I had served.
And who was your parole officer that told you that?
I'm not sure his name. It was a guy out of Avoyes Parish. I want to say his name was Ryan Allen.
Did he ever give you a letter or a completion notice?
No, sir. He did never give me a letter, and I should have called back. I'm not gonna say I shouldn't have. I should have checked in on it, but I did not. I really thought the time had been served.
All right. Mr. Mitchell, you have anything to add to that?
So I believe in that situation, Mr. Davis, after speaking with him, he did truly believe that, he had satisfied the time for his parole based on the fact that he served some time where there was no bill, or the time that he served did not result in any charges or any violations or any convictions, etc. And he was sitting in jail for a period of time, which he believed at that time substantiated that he was complete with his parole, and when he left from that particular detainment, um, you know, after having discussions with the parole officers and the parties there, it's my understanding that they told him, hey, you're right. If you have been held for 10 months, I believe Mr. Davis can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe if you've been held for 10 months, then
Yes, sir.
that should have satisfied your parole time, because he was on the 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 system, because the conviction was from 2020.
Hopefully you explain to him how wrong he was, huh? That's not how it works.
Right, I did.
All
But I
right.
also think based on Mr. Davis's previous mental diagnoses, it may be possible that he did not have the intent to violate his check-ins or report. He may just have been in an altered state.
He is a
Also,
fifth offender and has
say,
been on vision several times previously.
say that again. I could not. It broke up.
He is a fifth class offender and has been on supervision several times previously.
Okay.
All right. Condition number 9, that you fail to communicate and provide a valid address in order for a probation and parole officer to make visits. Your whereabouts remain unknown until your arrest in East Baton Rouge. How do you plead to that one?
Not guilty.
You had been telling your parole officer where you were living up until your arrest?
He had knew that I was going to treatment, in and out of treatment. They did know that.
What about where you were living? Had he seen you at your residence? Had you given him a residence to go visit
I
at?
was living in sober living. When I wasn't in treatment, I was in sober living homes.
I see when you were at the sober living home, you got kicked out. Why did you get kicked out of Oxford House?
Because I didn't have the money to pay.
And what about your arrest on 9/17 for 2024 for disturbing the peace by intoxication? What was that all about? How did that happen?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I was under the influence, and I'd got a little paranoid because I wasn't on my medication either. I'd actually went up to a cop and asked him if he could take me to the jail. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was scared. I was paranoid. I ain't gonna lie to you.
So you walked up to the cop and asked him to arrest you?
Yeah, I was under the influence and I was paranoid. I was. That's the God honest truth.
All right. Condition number 10, that you failed to pay supervision fee as evident by your arrearage of $2,349. Were you paying your fees?
No, sir.
Plead guilty to that one? I don't have any more questions. I don't have any questions either.
I believe your uncle, Mr. David Sunday, would like to make a statement. Mr. Sunday? You're getting it off mute.
All right, can you hear me? I had to unmute the phone. I was having a little trouble. Sorry about that. And I've kind of heard some of it and didn't hear some of it. So I'm just want to say good morning to all y'all. And thanks for the opportunity to speak here on Romy's behalf. I'm his uncle, David Sunday. And I thought I heard a little bit about being guilty and not guilty. And I don't know if there's a confusion between what he intended to do or if it's going to hinder the reflection upon him as pleading guilty or not guilty. I think his attorney advised him to plead not guilty, but I think he is willing to have accountability for his actions. He may be a little confused as to what to say on that. So without further doing this, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of my nephew. I want to emphasize a critical foundational fact to the board, which is Romy has no new criminal charges. His current incarceration is strictly due to being in violation of his parole out of Calcasieu Parish. After becoming homeless, he succumbed to a severe addiction and absconded out of place out of fear and instability. At the time of his being picked up on this violation, the police responded to a disturbance call where he was found homeless and asking for financial help. So I believe the state reviewed the incident and filed 0 charges against him, recognizing that this was a crisis of destitution and addiction, not criminal intent. So presently, Romy has been incarcerated for what I believe is about 6 months on this violation. And I feel that this period served a vital, an uninterrupted window of sobriety, safety, and self-reflection. So sending him back to prison to serve out the remainder of his sentence will not treat the underlying disease of his addiction. It will only stall his progress and reset his recovery clock. So to ensure public safety while aggressively addressing his healthcare and mental needs, we have actively laid the groundwork for a complete, highly structured diversion plan that is fully ready to be executed upon this board's approval. And the first thing would be, I'm working directly with a Dr. Emily Timley at O'Brien House Recovery Center, who will have Romy interviewed and placed directly into their specialized residential treatment plan. I've also contacted and actively coordinated a plan with Miss Lisa Burns, who is a social worker at the 19 JDC. She has confirmed that if the board permits, she will interview Romy and can officially begin to find placement and secure him a bed. Romy is completely prepared to sign all necessary consent forms to transfer his parole from East Baton Rouge Parish and be reassigned, from Calcasieu Parish to East Baton Rouge Parish. So in order to guarantee absolute transparency and compliance, Romy is ready to sign consent to allow his exact whereabouts, his daily schedule, and his clinical progress reports to be directly shared with his newly assigned Baton Rouge officer at all times. So we won't have any dark zones of his supervision. And as his uncle, I am here before this board and am personally guaranteeing his compliance. If the board allows him to enter this treatment track under the East Baton Rouge supervision, I give my word that if he leaves this program prematurely, misses a check-in, fails to report, gives any premonitions of departure in the least little bit, that I will directly contact his parole officer and report his noncompliance immediately. So I would like to finally conclude with a word about what my personal observation of Romy has been. And I've been knowing my nephew his entire life. And this is the absolute first time that I ever seen Romy attempting treatment along the way of his supervision or honestly admitting that he has a problem rather than placing the blame on everyone and everything else around him. So he is actually actively trying to seek treatment on his own. And if the board could consider the fact that he would have probably just violated himself with the time that I'm understanding that he would probably be about ready to discharge on parole as it is anyway. So, yet he stayed the course to get this parole board hearing and ask for attorney to address, and so he can continue in his recovery. So in order to embrace his efforts for help, I have extended my hand to steer him in the right direction so he can pursue his recovery. I am, upon this board's approval, connecting him with sincere individuals like Ms. Byrne and Ms. Dr. Tilley, who are seasoned social workers and proven veterans in this community in their respective fields. So for these reasons, we all asked the board to accept his 6 months as time served and deny his revocation and grant him this supervision opportunity to heal. And I would like to thank y'all for y'all's time and consideration and your service to the state of Louisiana. And that's all I have to say.
Are you gonna give him a place to live if he would be released?
Yes, sir, I would. And I think that was another part of his problem. He didn't have anywhere to go to. So yes, and we have a place where he can come stay. He has an address to go to, and the parole officer can come check it out. If
He
y'all,
was out of Oxford House for not paying. I didn't have the reason, but he said for not paying. How are you gonna work that out this time?
if
You said you talked to Oxford House and they would
he
take
can
him back.
also, I can also provide him with employment as well. Provide him with a job eventually, if how his treatment plan would let him start going to work. And I am going to help him with financial support. He has no mother and father. They're both passed away. He lost his mother at 22, and his father was at around 50 years old, I believe. So he's been roughing it out and struggling around, and he lost contact with me, and he doesn't really have any other family members. So I am prepared to help him financially, get on his feet, and try to get him in a recovery track program.
Right. Thank you.
I will say it's not in my history or nature to reward someone from absconding. However, I believe when you have a mental health situation compounded by substance abuse, there needs to be some consideration. Our goal is public safety, and that can only be achieved through appropriate treatment plan. Mr. Barra, are you prepared to vote?
Ready to vote. All right. I think you got lucky with your uncle stepping back into your life. You need to take advantage of that when you do get out. But we're not going to let you straight out to the street. What I'm going to do is in lieu of revocation, in other words, we're not going to revoke you. I'm going to order you to complete substance abuse and mental health with DOC. There won't be any charge on that. And then once you get completed with that, then you're going to go follow up and stay with your uncle and follow up with any aftercare that's needed at Oxford House and all those other places that he had. So we're going to start you off in a custodial treatment place where you won't have a choice about getting treatment or not. And that hopefully will get you moved right on into what all the stuff he's talking about.
Okay. Yes,
Well,
sir.
that's my vote. I'm on.
Okay.
Mr. Tillman.
I'm going to concur with Mr. Barra.
My vote is in lieu of revocation to send you to DOC substance abuse with follow-up with your uncle's outpatient plan. So today you have not been revoked outright, but you will be going to DOC custody or substance abuse.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. That
Yes, ma'am.
concludes
Thank
our
you.
there at East Metro.
So what stood out here for me was that the uncle did more than simply ask for mercy. He brought structure, housing, employment, personal monitoring, and a treatment plan. That gave the board something more concrete than a promise from someone in crisis. Mr. Davis is still going to have to face the relapse and the disappearance from supervision, but the board chose treatment over full revocation. Do you think they made the right call, or do you have something else that you would have done? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you check out one of the two that are on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching.